Hi there. Welcome to the Kessler Law Firm podcast. I'm your host, Michael Kessler. On today's episode, we're going to wrap up a conversation about one of my more recent cases. We have followed it every step of the way from the accident to before the Port St. Lucie police even decided to charge Miss Nance, up through her arrest, discovery, delays, and along the 3-year road to court. Today's episode focuses on the trial. As I've said before, and you've no doubt noticed, Kirsten Nance is a very nice lady, and she never should have been charged. As with the previous episodes, I'm going to let her tell you all about things from her point of view. Today, she will talk about her experiences of going through trial, deciding whether to testify, going through the trial itself, and waiting for the verdict. This is the next part of her story.
The whole day, 4 hours, 4 hours, talked to all the jurors in detail. And what's crazy is, I didn't know this, but you can only pick so many jurors, right? I didn't know that. So here there's 30-something jurors. So if you know this, you're the prosecutor, I don't know why you felt the need to talk to all these jurors for 4 hours, that they're sitting there like this after a while. We're watching them. Michael gets up, and the prosecutor's talking at them, not to them. So Michael, amazing, so charismatic with them, making jokes. They're giggling, having fun finally. They're like, oh, thank God, this guy's done. We're interested in Michael. Michael is awesome. Michael, start to finish, talking to the jurors, 45 minutes. Easy. The jurors loved him, loved talking to him. It was awesome. And it was awesome to sit there to watch that interaction. How I felt about the trial, wow. I will say, leading up to that, sick. You're absolutely sick to your stomach. To have to get your life in order because you don't know what can happen. So to prepare that you're going away, because you have to do that, right? Just to be on the safe side. I don't wish that upon anybody to ever have to do that. I don't wish upon anybody to have to sit through a trial. It's nerve-wracking. Your nervous system is absolutely shot. You're shaking uncontrollably, and not because you're cold. You just can't stop shaking. You have to sit there and listen to open testimony from a prosecutor who can't even look you in the eye, who's just saying horrible things about you, and you have to sit there and listen to that. You have to have your friends and family who are your lifeline, that are there to support you, sit through this with you and ride along this with you. It's hard. It's hard because you're going to see stuff you don't want to see. So you're going to go through autopsy photos. That's hard, and you don't see what happened that night, and you never saw that person. You don't know. So to sit through that and hear that is because, a life is lost at the end of the day. It's a horrible thing. But, what the jury didn't get to hear is there's 2 victims here, and I was one of them. They wouldn't allow in court that, he was Baker acted almost 2 months prior by a police officer for saying he was going to step in front of a moving vehicle and kill himself. So as hard as it is to be there, you're angry you're there. You're angry you're on trial because it should have never come to that. It should have never, ever come to that. So it is the worst thing, but the whole time Michael, I could not have got through that without him. It makes me emotional because he was my rock. Would just squeeze my hand, tell me when to tune out, because he knew the prosecutor was trying to get a reaction out of me. Because you just, everything in you want to stand up and say, that's not true. That's not how it happened. And you can't. So to have Michael through that, I there's no way I could have got through without him. There's just no way. It was so hard, and there's a lot at stake. I mean, even my friends and family, the emotion's so high, but at the end of the day, I know Michael's doing the best he can. At the end of the day, it's not on him. It's on a jury, so it's hard. It's hard to be on trial. It's very hard. It's hard to watch a prosecutor badger witnesses the same thing over and over again. And you're sitting here going, what is the point of this? Like, we're not disputing that it was my car. We're not disputing a man is dead. But what you're not doing is showing that I knew or should have known I hit somebody. So again, you sit here and you're like, why am I here? Like, and you're praying that the jury is understanding the law. And I'm thankful that my attorney explained the law, but trial's not easy. But I couldn't have gone to trial with anybody other than Michael. When you're with somebody for as many years as I've been with him, he's like family, nobody else next to me that I would want ever than Michael. I chose not to testify, and not because I didn't want to tell my story. I chose not to testify because that would have opened me up to Jonathan Libby. And I thought it was wise that I did not have him cross-examine me because of how he was, not just in trial, but before trial. I knew he would have said something to me that I would have not been able to stay how I was supposed to be. So I chose not to testify, and I'm glad I didn't, because they showed the night I went into the police station, and that was my testimony right there. I didn't have to say one other word. This is not 3.5 years later. That was the day after it happened. So I chose not to testify. I'm happy I didn't testify, and it shows I didn't need to testify. To watch Michael in our courtroom is pretty awesome. I've known him, as I've said to you, for over 3 years. I only got to see him in docket hearings, right? So I've never seen Michael in court. So he is so in tune. And when you think he's not hearing, he's writing notes, right? Of what's going on, what the prosecutor's saying, this, that. He's writing defendants that are up testifying. He's writing stuff down. And even as he's writing stuff, if Libby says something, he's out of his chair. Objection, Your Honor. Like, to watch him and then to see the things he's writing down, I'm sitting there going, oh, I wonder that, and he's on it. And every objection he had any objection Libby had was overruled by the judge. So Michael was never once saying he was finished, go on. Any objection that Michael had towards Libby was sustained. Like, Libby could not go any further. So to watch, whether it was leading the witness, he was just so on it. There was a TV in court. It was not towards us. It was that way. Michael would leave me, but you'll be okay. I'm right over here if you need me. He'd get up his back. He would sit, watch that TV, watch what was going on, watch what was being said. Right. He's so professional, so knows the law, so knows what's right or wrong, absolutely knows how to speak to people, never once disrespectful, never once loud, just got his point across in a very respectful, calm demeanor. It was awesome to watch. I have to tell you, it was awesome to watch him in court. Like I said, I've never seen him in court. I couldn't have been happier and prouder to say, like, yeah, that's my attorney. And I loved watching the jurors respond to him. You know, like I said, they would listen to Libby, and you could see some of them would be like, roll their eyes like, oh, here we go again. And when Michael would come, you'd see them actually sit up. And they were intrigued, interested in what he was saying. They were just as interested to watch him as I was, which was awesome. So waiting for the verdict. That was hard. They broke at 12, I believe it was. They were out for over 4 hours at that point. Waiting was agony. Michael too. I mean, that was hard too. You know, in the courtroom, he has more control. He can ask questions. He's in his element. At that point, you hand it over and you're sitting duck at that point. So, my family, I mean, you're sick, you're in the bathroom nonstop. Your friends are in the bathroom nonstop. It's hard. You're just sitting, and what's taking so long? And then your mind is going to, okay, they're taking long because they're really looking at everything. This is good. Like, okay, this is good. And then you think, like, then you have somebody say, well, what's taking so long? And then you're like, well, maybe because they're taking so long, maybe it's not good. Like, all these things go through your head. And then you sit there and think, like, okay, this is the last time I'm going to be sitting here, you know, because if they come back with guilty, they're going to take me right then and there. So waiting was agony, so stressful. You can't really articulate that or put that into words unless you're in that kind of situation. I could tell you just from looking at my loved ones, horrible, because they're going through the motions as you are, but just on a different level. You just see like sheer fear on them, and you know, that's not fun. As far as getting a question, the jury had a question, so you kind of know at that point, based on the question, if it's a good question or if it's a bad question, right? So one of my friends that was there, Owen, he is an attorney, and he was awesome for my friends and family that were there, because I'm with Michael, and anything they didn't understand, or he was on his laptop pulling it up, showing this is the law, this is like, you know, this is wrong, this is right. Like, Owen was like helping my friends and family. But the question, Michael, I wasn't sitting with him at that point. I was sitting with my friends and family because, of course, the jury hasn't come back yet. I didn't need to be up there. So Michael asked me to come up, and he showed me the question, and I didn't understand it, of course, again. And I'm going, so it should be no? And he's like, no, it should be yes. And I'm like, I wasn't understanding. So he showed it to Owen, and Owen came back and sat down, and he said, I was saying, no, and I'm like, I don't understand the question. And he's like, the question is if it's immediate. So under that question, it follows it's immediate after the accident. So that question they're asking should be a yes. It means that you should have known immediately that if it was a person or not a person, and not when you got home. It's immediate. So Michael is going to tell them it's a yes. So I'm like, oh, okay. So Michael, of course, is saying exactly that, and the judge is reading and goes, yes, underneath it says immediate. And he's like, you know, it's not in layman's terms for these jurors. Libby, of course, is fighting it away, fighting it away. And finally, after going back and forth, because Michael kept saying, Your Honor, if underneath it's saying immediate, then the answer needs to be yes to that question. And finally, the judge again said, this is not in layman's terms. To be fair, they asked a strict, it's a yes and no question. Like that, I need to give them a yes or no. And he said, and based on what it says underneath immediate, then I'm going to say it is a yes. And that is that. So, Owen was telling me at that time, this is good, that's a good thing. And I'm still thinking, like, I don't understand. I'm like, okay, it's good, but I don't understand why they even asked the question. So then the jury came back after he answered that question, and jury came back probably 25 minutes later. Very quick after that. So when the jury had a verdict, we were all in the hallway, and Michael came out and said, jury reached a verdict. And at that point, it was just, everybody was crying already, because it was like, let me hug who I can hug. Because again, you don't know if you're going to be able to hug them after that point. So it was very emotional. Even before we even went back into the courtroom, we came back in, and Michael just told everybody that we were with, whatever you do, do not react, whatever it is. Do not yell, don't scream, nothing. Just, you have to keep your composure. So the jury came in, and you rise every time the jury comes in and out. And I remember telling Michael before we went back in, I've been prepared for over 3 years for a guilty verdict. It's easy to prepare for the worst, right? So I've been prepared for the worst since this nightmare has happened. So I said to Michael, I'm prepared for that. And when they come back and say guilty, I'll be all right. Like, I'm going to be all right. I'm ready for that. I said, but if they say not guilty, I said, I'm not prepared for that. So I don't know what to tell you is going to happen at that point. So he said, all right, because it's okay, because I got you either way. So he came in, and, it's very prolonged in the sense of, like, you rise, and it's like the judge says, does the jury reach a verdict? Yes, we reach a verdict. They hand it to the bailiff. The bailiff hands it to the judge. The judge opens it, reads it, and, sees it, shuts it, and hands it off to the clerk. Michael is literally, like, holding me as we're standing. And she reads, like, we, the jury, in the above, whatever, the case, blah, 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 find the defendant. And it felt like it took forever for her to say it. She said, she was so pronounced, not guilty. Well, all I remember is, like, I think I, like, almost fell, I remember I was in Michael. That's all I remember. Hysterical crying, because the weight of that is finally gone. So just like hysterical crying, Michael's crying. I didn't see anybody behind me, but I heard everybody. Everybody was crying. It was, Owen puts it best. He says, to be your friend for so long, because he's been my friend for, 12 years or so. He said, to watch you go through this for the last 3 years, and to be in that courtroom for those 2 days and to hear that verdict being read was so powerful for all of us who love you. It's a moment, he said, we'll never forget. And it was that. It was just, it's finally over. Finally over. And it's not like what you think or what you see in the movies where people just, like, erupt and, like, yeah, it's not like that. It's just such a, I can't describe the weight of that. And I'm sure Michael was the same. It was just, like I said, all of us were crying. I mean, even Michael, it was just, and I can't imagine, like, you have your friends and family in there, and you can't imagine, like, God forbid it went the other way and what they would have to have witnessed. And what I always cared about them and what they had to go through. But think about Michael, right? He has my life in his hands. So for him, that's a horrible thing too, to sit there and know, like, I believed in this person from day one, and I know who she is, and oh God, I pray the jury gets this right. Because then after that, like, then what? So for it to be not guilty, it was such a win. And I don't say that just for me, it was for him too, because he was there the whole time. He's the reason it's not guilty. And that burden he carried, for 3 years to get us to where we needed to be. So he could too breathe finally that this is over. How did the prosecutor react? Well, I think when you take a case, right, you can either win it or you're going to lose. It's a no-brainer. There's no in between, right? So, first of all, you took a case on you should have never taken on in the first place. That was first of all. But you did it because you were so arrogant that you thought you were going to win. You thought it was a signed, sealed, delivered. Well, just so happens you were up against a really good attorney who was so professional to you the whole time, so professional. You were also up against a jury who absolutely did not like you at all, and that's all you're doing, okay? As how you handled them, everything you did in court and everything you said in court, you put that in their mouths, a sour taste in their mouths. That's all on you, Libby. But at the end of the day, when the verdict was read and it's all said and done, my attorney, because he's a class act, walked over and said, John, and went to shake his hand, and he goes, I'm not shaking your hand. You accused me of, I don't even know what he said, whereas Michael's never accused him of anything. I'm not shaking your hand. My friends and family were like, whoa. So my fiance goes, real professional. Like, wow, you are professional. And my girlfriend's husband is like pushing him out of the car. Okay, let's go out of the court. And I just looked at him and I was like, wow. Like, would not even shake Michael's hand at all. And Michael just like looked at me like, okay, like, I'm confused, but we were all just like, wow, sore loser. Like, sore loser and awful. Like, I would understand if Michael was disrespectful the whole time throughout the whole process, but even all the docket hearings that I was at, Michael was always, would go over and speak to him about, like, always soft-spoken, and he would speak back to Michael. So I never saw any negative interaction because Libby did speak to him, like, even throughout the trial, they would talk back and forth. So to see that, and even the bailiff was like, I mean, it was crazy. It's really something you can't really and know what it's like to live like that for so long. This is not a month thing, a couple week thing. This is 3.5 years long of living this way. So those are years you're never going to get back. And what people don't know is after trial, it doesn't really get any better right away either. You have the instant relief that one second. You get the instant relief that it's over. Finally. But you really don't know how to live after that because you've lived a certain way for so long that you just wake up every day and you don't have the, okay, it's over. I'm not going to jail, but it stays with you. The heaviness still stays with you. The not knowing how to plan your life, even though you can freely, it stays with you. So that, I think I was more shocked than anything else. I thought, like, once it's done, oh my God, it's done. It's really not. There's no celebrating. There's no woohoo, it's over. You are in that moment. I can tell you, moving on from that, I mean, what are we now, 5 weeks out, 6 weeks out? I still haven't had a woohoo moment that I've celebrated with friends, or, we're all glad it's over, but it's taken a toll, it takes a toll on the people you love and care about. And it's not an easy thing to go through. So I'm still trying to wait to when it gets back. And I don't think your life will ever be the same. I think you just gotta find a way to find the new normal and who you are now moving forward, and trying to leave behind who you were in those 3.5 years, or what those 3.5 years did to you.
As you can see, thanks to the jury trial system and countless hours of preparation on the part of not only myself, but my staff, and the help of our client, Ms. Nance, and her friends and family, justice was done. Thank you for joining us for this series of episodes on the Kessler Law Firm podcast. Whether you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on your favorite podcasting site, please click subscribe or follow. So next time you come back, you can find our latest podcasts ready and waiting for you. If you'd like to learn more about us, if you need somebody like us on your side, if you'd like to connect and find out more, please visit our website at www.kesslerlawfirm.com. At the Kessler Law Firm, we defend. And when everybody else is on your back, we're on your side.